here. That's not going to take away from these girls. Are still going to come up and get their medals and all that for sure. There's Jason there now.
St. John's. Okay, so as you can see, Seamus O'Regan is hanging out here. He's talking to Mark Critch as Prime Minister Justin Trudeau is walking by, shaking hands, kissing babies, doing the thing that such a handsome man with great hair would do. I had the pleasure, of course, to meet him just for a moment. Quick handshake, say hello, welcome into the city. And I mean, I hope my mom was watching, because she would have seen me shake the Prime Minister's hand on live television. That was pretty cool.
Not every day the Prime Minister is in town. I think everyone at Kitivity Lake has forgotten there's a regatta going on.
Yeah, for a little bit. Like, I feel bad for the people who are, like, going, getting warmed up or flying down the pond right now and nobody's paying attention. But, like you said, there's been 201 of these.
But you know what? I do want to say a special shout out. I know on stake 3 in the A+ Fitness in the Newfoundland Herald is Christina Ennis. And her grandparents have attended so many regattas, and this is one of the first regattas that they're not able to make it down to. So her pop and her nan, I'm guessing, I want to send a special hello to Pat Ennis and Sarah Murphy. So Pat Ennis and Sarah Murphy, if you're watching, Christina Ennis's grandparents, she's out there rowing her heart out for you. We're about to start, so hope you're having a great day, and we miss you here at the pond.
So what we're seeing here from I almost said President Trudeau, Prime Minister Trudeau, is making the rounds, shaking some babies, shaking some hands, kissing some babies, and he's actually going to come back into the winner's circle and have a few words. I was talking to one of his PR people just a few minutes ago, so after he does some of that, we'll have some live footage of him chatting it up to the crowd, talking about how great it is to be here, I'm sure, at the 201st Royal St. John's Regatta.
That is very exciting.
So are you a fan?
Oh, I'm a fan.
We won't, no, not just because he's handsome. Like, we won't get deep into the politics of it, but I mean, for a long time, the last time around, we're clean red, straight across the board, all Liberal. So we'll see if that holds true after he charms his pants off us.
Certainly, and I know we saw Seamus O'Regan is down here with his his pal, Prime Minister Justin Trudeau. So I wonder if Premier Dwight Ball might be making an appearance too to complete the red
the holy
circuit.
trifecta.
Yes, the trifecta of Liberal politicians. So,
And a little later on, I believe, leader of the opposition, Mr. Ches Crosby, he's going to be around a little bit later on, and he's actually stepping up and getting in the young adult cancer dunk tank.
that is amazing. That is something to see. I'm just going to take a second, even though their names aren't keyed up on the screen. The race number 12, 11 a.m., College of the North Atlantic Female District race, senior female number 5. The crews we have competing here, stake number 1 is the Avalon Animal Hospital, coxswain Tim Clement, stroke Andrea Power. Stake number 2, rowing in the President's Choice, Premium Waste Services is a sponsor, coxswain Jackie Warfield, a name we've heard a few times today, stroke Ashley Daw. Stake number 3 is A Fitness, coxswain, I'm not sure, their name is not listed in the program, stroke is Laura Kiley, and I know Christina Ennis is on 5, sending out a big hello to her grandparents Pat Ennis and Sarah Murphy. Stake number 4, the Oz Network, coxswain Melissa Organ and the Go Store Petro Services is the sponsor. And stake 5 is the Triple E Painters, coxswain Kathleen Shea, stroke Julia Elliott. So even though it's not, it is keyed up on the screen, excellent. So that is the race number 12, female district, College of the North Atlantic Female District. So special shout out to Christina Ennis's grandparents. She is really wishing her pop could be here, Pat Ennis and Sarah Murphy.
Can we talk for a second about buzz, about energy, about the feeling that is around the pond right now? Like look around. There are so many people here.
There are so many people. You know, I think the celebrations of the 200th last year really reinvigorated the regatta. People got excited about rowing again, and it's showing. It's early in the day, and there's tons of people who've been down here already. Maybe the Prime Minister has something to do with it. Maybe it's us.
I think it's most certainly got to be us. I mean, it's got to be us people here at Rogers Television. It's got to be because of the Anglican East Diocese and their sponsorship.
Or the barbecue.
It's got to be because of Home Depot giving us that barbecue. You can go to Ignite Red House up by the pond and win that thing. I mean, it could have been because Hudson and Rex were here. It could have been because of, not Spirit of Newfoundland's catering, because that's mostly just for you and I, and the rest of our dedicated volunteer crew.
It could be the beautiful weather.
It could be the beautiful weather. You know, I won't say I was hesitant, but after the 200, which is obviously massive.
It was so hot last year on Regatta Day.
Oh my! I'm literally sticking to the floor, to the tire was melting under my feet. After that big 200th year, in the back of my head, I was a little bit like, I mean, here's Premier Dwight Ball right there. You went ahead and said maybe he'll show up, and there he is.
I looked in my crystal ball.
You clearly did, and you know it's funny because I want to say, so I met Prime Minister Trudeau, taller than I thought it was going to be. Taller, handsome, taller than I thought he was going to be.
Everyone knows he's handsome. He's just a handsome human. And we've got race number 12 lining up there. We see our camera. We've got cameras speckled around the lake here, and this is the camera at the top of the pond. And stake number 5 is just coming into there, grabbing their toggle is what they're calling those ropes that are attached to the buoys that the coxswain holds onto. And stake number 5 lining up there is Triple E Painters.
So back to what I was saying earlier about having such a big year last year for the 200th. This year I was almost expecting not like a lull, but like how do you keep that cadence? And then I think what you said about re-injecting what is so exciting about this, because there was so much energy last year, and that's carrying over now into the 201st. And I think that's a way better perspective to have on it.
Yeah, I mean, we talked to Bradley Power this morning, who's the captain of the course and the vice president of the Royal St. John's Regatta Committee. And as expected, I mean, everybody and their dog wanted to come home and row in the 200th regatta, and they did. It was a record participation. I think it was like 160 or 156 crews, and so there was a slight drop, and they were expecting that in a non-anniversary year. But, you know, to keep things going, they're putting lots of funding in the youth program, lots of funding in the Learn to Row program, this huge beautification project.
Oh, massive.
Oh, this
I was
is
talking to Seamus O'Regan about that, to Mayor Danny Breen about it. He said this is just phase one. There's more to come. And in talking to Diana earlier about the youthification in rowing right now, you see people who have a legacy of being in this sport year after year. Some of the big names like Ring, King, there's a
Barrington.
lot. Barrington, yeah. You're seeing their children now that are getting into the sport, and you'll probably see the same thing through the Cadigan family, like we spoke about before. Like, there's legacy, and I think you said it best earlier. It's just in your blood.
It's in your blood. It's in your blood. The first Wednesday in August, no matter where you are in the world. I saw a friend earlier who's home from the UK, timed his vacation with his 3 kids around the regatta, coming home for the regatta. Messages from Australia and Alberta and wherever Newfoundlanders are in the world, they know what's going on today, our local holiday. So, unofficial race time of 1:57:58 and counting here. We've got the beautiful drone coverage from Cloudbreaker, and it's a pretty tight race, as most of them are in the women's course on the way down to those turning buoys or kegs, whatever you want to call them.
I think it's important to note for everybody in the audience who's listening, everybody who's talking to you as you're killing it discussing all of this racing, that the amount of people who have walked by, seen you on live television and waved and said hi, I mean, nobody's doing that for me.
Well, this is
all about you.
You're just a regular host of Out of the Fog, just crushing it every Wednesday, and this is my one day of television per year, so I tell all my friends, my parents, they subscribe to Rogers for this day, so this is a big deal for the Hancock family.
Well, I mean, they could subscribe to Rogers anyway, because there's a great deal on Ignite right now.
Oh, what? Do you want to talk about that deal on Ignite?
Well, I mean, I don't know a great deal about it, but I think it's somewhere in the vicinity of $89.99 for a year. And the thing is deadly. Like, you literally push a button on your remote and you say, like, Sportsnet, and it changes to Sportsnet. Or you say, you could look at the Mount Pearl Anthem on YouTube, and it'll search YouTube for the Mount Pearl Anthem.
Wow, that is impressive. Wow, we've got the turning of the buoys here. Also, safety is paramount at the Royal St. John's Regatta. So you can see at the turning of the buoys, they've got 3 kind of chase boats lined up there. So I believe one is like a VIP boat for people who are spectating the regatta, and at least 2 of them are safety boats to make sure everyone gets around the turn safely. Now, the women's turns the half-course turns are a bit more uneventful because they're further spread apart, but when the lake gets more narrow and at the full course turns, the men's, there can sometimes be collisions, either if one goes wide and one goes narrow into their turn, or if just the speed, if one person is coming into the turn while another boat is coming out, there can be, a boat might have to yield and give way. So there has been
So
kind
are
of
the rules around that?
Yeah, the boat that is coming into the turn, I believe, has to yield to the faster boat who's coming out. So there are rules, and the coxswains know them all too well, but there have been incidents, and those turns of boats are closely monitored to make sure everyone gets around safely. So we're going up around 4.5 minutes now. Very tight race for race number 12, College of the North Atlantic Female District Race. So the chase boats are following along. It looks like stake 1, 2, and 4 are neck and neck. Stake 3, A Fitness, so that's Christina Ennis's crew, is slightly lagging behind those teams. And then on stake 5, which is closest to us in the bottom of your screen, the Triple E Painters maybe are gaining on A Fitness, but they look to be a bit behind.
Well, as they're crossing in front of the boathouse here near the winner's circle, you can really visualize exactly how tight they are across 1, 2, and 4.
Yeah,
and
and
about a boat length behind then in the third stake.
You can see there some of the girls in a race this close, they look over to see what's happening in the boat next to them. Now, as a rower in our boat, that would be discouraged, and you would get your head yelled off you if you look at the boat like that. But it's a habit. We all do it. We want to know what's happening in the race.
The coxswain's just screaming, like, head in the boat, right?
Head in the boat. And also, we ask our coxswain to let us know where we are. Where are we sitting in relation to the other boats? Are we behind by a seat? Are we ahead by a seat? How much do we have to catch them by? So then, if you can think 6 heads all turning at once, that's a good, 20 pounds ahead. what is it they said in Jerry Maguire? The head is the heaviest part of your body, or the brain, or I don't know. You shouldn't do it. You got to look ahead. You should look ahead while you're rowing to keep the balance.
Because really,
of the boat.
I mean, you're in a race against the clock.
Exactly.
I mean, you have competition, but it's the clock really that matters. That's why somebody in a second heat can beat somebody in the first, and they can end up in the championship. I mean, when you're in that final race, sure, you're racing against the people that you're there, but beating the clock to get into the championship is really what the goal is.
Yeah, and last year when we rode, we knew that our race was against the clock, and we had to self-motivate because you always find more to push when you're neck and neck with another crew. But if you have to motivate yourself, it's not, you need to know where you are time-wise in relation to the other people. So great, very tight finish coming across there. Wow.
Very tight
I think that's the closest race we've seen today. Just amazing rowing by all 5 of those crews in intensely pressureful, stressful sporting situations. So well done to all 5 crews.
So speaking of tight races, one of the men's races a little while ago, they had to go to the footage. Were you paying attention to that? No, I believe you were stalking the Prime Minister at that point in time.
Yeah, that could happen.
So now while we're waiting for some winners to come around, waiting to set up another race, Amanda, let's talk again about some of the wonderful, are more people waving to you? You are so popular. We'll talk about some of our sponsors. So the Anglican East Diocese as a regatta sponsor. Again, Home Depot, thank you so much for the barbecue that you can all win up at the top of the pond at the Rogers Ignite Red House. You can also play some games there and win some prizes. For instance, when I was up there earlier, I won you some Rogers Ignite sunglasses.
So cool, because it is warm and hot out here, so we are going to take a little break, cool off, and hopefully when we come back, Justin Trudeau will be with us.
No.
Mom, you said it's played again.
Workplace injuries hurt the most at home.
Focused on quality and convenience, there isn't much you won't find at Marie's Mini Mart. Home-style breads, sandwiches, plus a variety of artisan breads and delicious single-serve desserts available exclusively at our Frecker Drive location. Marie's Mini Mart, with 25 locations wherever you go, there we are.
this race. So we have stake number 1, the Miss Tubular. Coxswain is Gloria Brown. Stroke is Tracy Mills. Number 5 is Susan Day. Number 4 in that boat is Krista Steves. Number 3 is Crystal Hayden. Number 2 is Danielle Whalen. Number 1 is Maria Hillier. And their spears are Barb Murphy and Jacqueline Hines. On stake number 2, looks like the Pomerleau. Coxswain is Jim Ring, no stranger to the regatta. Stroke is Patricia Churchill. Number 5 is Kathleen Wall. Number 4 is Barbara Matthews. Number 3 is Tracy Pittman. Number 2 on that boat is Susan James. Rowing number 1 is Brenda Noseworthy, and their spear is Susan Byrne. In stake number 3 is Coxswain Jeff Clooney for Iceberg Gold. Stroke is Clara Manning. Number 5 is Nicole Manning. Number 4 is Joanne Cooper. Number 3 is Sarah Sloan. Number 2 is Lorna Brennan. Number 1 in that boat is Nicole McGraw. On stake number 4, Cougar Helicopters. Coxswain is Lenny Williams. Stroke is Krista Cox. Number 5 is Crystal White. Number 4 is Molly Penny. Number 3 is Jill Coburn. Number 2 is Steph Compton. Rowing number 1 is Erica Kellaway. And in stake number 5, the Jerry Angel. Coxswain is Jackie Warfield. Stroke is Desiree Bennett. Number 5 is Kristen Strickland. Number 4 is Heidi Murphy. Number 3 is Gillum Trainer. Number 2 is Tracy James. Number 1 is Penny Patton, and the spear is Tracy Yetman Oliver. So they're lined up there now, getting ready to go, and we are in race number 13.
All right, so we've got the Universal Corporate Wear lined up behind us to get their medals for race number 12. So hopefully when those medal presentations are done, we'll get to talk to Universal Corporate Wear. And for now, we're watching the boats set off for race number 13, the Rogers Female Club Race. So we see there on the stake 5, closest to our screen, some pink and blue tank tops there, kind of alternating back and forth with the uniforms. Crews get really creative with their uniforms. I mean, there's one crew down here I think is wearing leopard print spandex. So you see all kinds of uniforms.
Stephanie Tuck, Emma Ramsey, Billy Yetman, Alyssa Moores, and Dawn Curran. Presenting the silver medal on behalf of VOCM is Brian Medore.
All right, so now we have Jason, who's teed up with politician Mr. Ches Crosby. So we're going to hear from them as this race number 13 is progressing.
Well, folks, I'm here with a rather important man, Mr. Ches Crosby, leader of the Provincial Progressive Conservative Party. Thank you very much for taking the time to say hello, sir.
Oh, my pleasure. And a beautiful day it is for the regatta. You can't have a better one.
You really don't.
No wind as well.
No wind. Been great since the start of the day, early in the morning. Also, you are finely dressed, sir. May I compliment you?
Well, I'm having lunch with the regatta committee, so I figured they'd be a Tony group, right?
Exactly. So, obviously, Crosby family been around the St. John's community for a very long time. You've probably seen a lot of regattas coming down.
Well, that's true. In fact, I grew up at number 16 Circular Road, just back here. So it's only a short walk down here. And so, in my childhood, I'd come down here all the time. It was so close by. And this is where I was introduced to cotton candy.
Oh, really? So, historically speaking, favorite part of the regatta for Mr. Ches Crosby?
Well, I think it's just the excitement of being with a bunch of people who are really keen on the event. The historical connection is all part of it. The races are certainly important, but I was never that focused on the races that I was about to put money on the outcome, right? Now, I did have 2 daughters who rowed in the regatta, and one of them won her category. And the family history goes back, actually, to 1911, when my grandfather, Furno, won a gold medal in 1911. And my uncle, Doug, still has the copy, or still has that gold medal.
Back so far as 1911. Holy cow. And of course, I mean, if we think about the history, we're into 201 years now, at least recorded 201 years. And we're talking about something that happened 100 years ago, and that's only halfway back to the beginning. So the legacy of this in our province and in our city is a massive thing.
Yeah, and a lot of us still have remembered family connections with it, so that's all part of the fun, yeah.
Yeah, absolutely amazing. Thank you very much, Mr. Crosby, for taking the time to say hello. Always welcome. A pleasure. And Amanda, back to you.
All right, so we're here unofficial time of 3:12, and Diana introduced this race number 13. And we have on stake 1 yoga therapy. And I happen to know that all of those rowers are yoga teachers. So when you're looking at stake 1, they should be sitting up very tall and with strong cores, that's for sure. I learned that because every Wednesday in the summer there is free yoga on the lawn at Government House. And there's volunteer yoga instructors who go to teach that yoga starting at 12:15 to 1 every Wednesday until I think the end of September. It is absolutely awesome. And I went a couple weeks ago where I learned that there's a crew rowing on stake 1 in the current race that you're watching right now, and they are all yoga instructors. So I think that's just so cool. They're rowing for fun. I think they're all affiliated in some way with Nova Yoga, and some of them are also offering this free yoga up at Government House, so that's pretty cool. And like we said, multi-sport athletes get a benefit from being involved in different things, and no different with the yoga. And I think that's the yoga therapy crew in the white on the top right of your screen there on stake 1. But pulling in the lead in the red shirts looks to be stake, not stake 2, I think stake 4. It looks like stake 4 is ahead of 3 and then 2 and then 1. And probably stake 5, which is the United Steelworkers, are bringing up the rear there in 5th place. And 4th place in that boat is the Rest NL mattresses in the Cougar helicopters. So this is a great close-up shot here. The races, they're getting to the point where they're a little bit fatigued, so you start to see some timing issues, but they're trying their best to get to the front of their seat, to the back of their seat, so they can get the most out of their leg drive. Because often people say, oh, you're a rower, you must have a strong back, strong arms, but really a lot of your power is generated from your legs. So you could see that there in the close-up shots. And I believe we're getting ready to talk to some of the winners, the Universal Corporate Wear, and Diana is going to speak to them, so I'll throw it over to her.
All right, so I'm here with the winners from race number 11, Universal Corporate Wear. Congratulations, girls.
Thank you so much.
So I know Ed Boone is the coxswain, so he's no stranger to the regatta. Universal Corporate Wear, I do know Lynn is here. Great sponsor. I think she has 4 crews. Is it this year rowing?
I have 3 now.
Okay, so three's a lot. Three's a lot. So I'm just going to have a quick chat here with Valerie Ducey. Valerie, how long you guys been together?
This is our 3rd year rowing together.
All right, and how was it? How's it going?
Oh, absolutely fantastic.
Are you still getting along? That's the big thing.
Oh, listen, we got along. It's a great crew with lots of teamwork, lots of motivation, a lot of positive reinforcement with each other. It's a fabulous team.
So is this your first win this year?
Our first win this year, definitely our personal best.
Yeah, so you guys had the slowest time in time trials coming into this race. Is that correct?
Yes, it was. We were a little discouraged about that, but yes.
So you can never be discouraged, obviously, because look how well you did.
Well, you turned that into motivation, and like I said, we did everything we could, give it all we got. We rode for ourselves, we rode for each other, we rode for our families, and
we rode with our
lots
hearts.
of fun.
Sorry?
We rode with our hearts.
Awesome, and that's the way you win races. Awesome job, girls. Enjoy the rest of your day. Thank you.
So much. Thank you.
Bye, guys. All right, now I'm going to throw it back to Amanda to finish our race.
Well, you were interviewing Universal Corporate Wear. I was lucky enough to catch the finish of an extremely close race. The order, I don't have the times, but I think crossing the line first was Rest NL Mattresses there in the blue. They were on stake 4. And then not even a second, or well, maybe definitely not 2 seconds behind them was stake 3, Ziggy Peelgoods. And right behind them was stake 2, Home Hardware. And then it was the Yoga Therapy NL on stake 1 came in, and then in 5th was the United Steelworkers. So that was the order of that finish. Just a really tight race. I don't know if you caught the finish of it, but it was very close.
So the Rest NL, is it Mattresses 1? Rest NLO?
Stake 4, yeah, Rest NL Mattresses. They were in the blue. Really close race.
Excellent. Good to see the close races.
There were some excited rowers you talked to.
Oh, yes, for sure, because they had finished actually last in time trials, and then they finished first in that race. So they went from 5th to 1st in the race. Ed Boone was their coxswain, and I spoke to the lady there, Lynn, with Universal Corporate Wear. She is sponsoring 3 crews.
They're a great sponsor of the regatta. They also last year held a rowers barbecue and Universal Corporate Wear sponsored it. So, you know, you really get local businesses stepping up to the plate and just giving more than expected. So it's awesome.
Yes, absolutely. And Lynn is really big in the community for all events like hockey and figure skating, swimming. I know she's involved in a lot of different events.
So we see here the Rest, I want to say Rest Well match.
I know.
But I think it's Rest NL. And you can see them trying to recoup there at the end of their race. Okay, and now shortly we're going to have on the screen all the race results up to 11 a.m. So here we go. Recapping the first race of the day, the Atlantic Lottery Female Amateur official times. First place, High Flow Hydraulic, 5:04. Number 2, Cal Group, 5:10:47. Third place, Don Burke, 5:24. Fourth place, Steers Insurance, 5:25:37. Fifth place, Pooch Cove Pharmacy, 5:32. So race number 2, this is seeds 6 to 10, but as you can see, Kennedy Cleaning Services bumped out Pooch Cove Pharmacy for that top 5 spot by just 2 seconds. So 5:30:52 gets them into the big show, the championship race tonight. Atlantic Towing, 5:33:78. India Gate, 5:40:04. Veuve Clicquot, I wish they'd sponsor me, 5:41:49. First General, 5:41:80. Some excellent rows there. First men's race of the day was race number 3. First place there in a comfortable lead was Fine Strokes Painting and Plastering, formerly Outer Cove, town of Outer Cove, rowing last year. Behind them, Belfour, 9:23:27. And then just 5 seconds behind them is the NTV, a crew of guys mostly who work at NTV and also row for NTV. I know they'll want to be catching up to Belfour and closing that 5-second gap tonight. Then followed by Smith Stockley. And fifth place was, sorry, I'm not talking fast enough. Race number 4, official results. Newfoundland Power, 10:03:72. Geotech Services, 10:12:74. Team Broken Earth, M5, 10:33. Piatto Pizzeria and Enoteca, Browning Harvey, 11:08:99. So the men's championship will be the exact same 5 boats who started the men's races today. So race number 5, P.F. Collins, 5:47:60. Caverner, 5:55:06. Sisters in Fitness, 5:56:82. Stuart McKelvey crew in 4th place, 5:57:33. 5th place, Hazmasters, 6:02:38. Congratulations to P.F. Collins on a great row there. Race number 6, official results. Lamb's Rum, 10:11:85. Hearn Distributing, 10:12:28. 3rd place, Embrace Orthodontics, 10:12:32. 4th place, Harbor Grace Ocean, 11:18:83. 5th place, All Star Rebar with a time of 11:30:11. Race number 7, Wedgwood Power. I think that's Wedgwood Physio, 5:48:12. 2nd place, TLC Home Care, 5:58. CompuSalt, 6:26:13. Boulder McDonald's, 6:27:02. John Callahan Realty, 6:27:73. On to race number 8, the Domino's Pizza Juvenile Female. So these are times for juvenile rowers. 5:51:12 for Martin Surveys, the winner of that race. RBC Dominion Securities, 5:56:21. Keep Cool Refrigeration, 6 minutes, 16 seconds, 29. 4th place, Carboneer Home Hardware, 6:54:12. 5th place, the St. Bon's Girls. Looks like a DQ there. I'll have to get the story on that one. Race number 9 was a 2-boat race. The intermediate females, Herald Hotel crew from Placentia finished in a time of 5:30:80, and Hempigen Canada, time of 6:20:22. Race number 10, first place, Domino's Pizza, 11:07:19. 2nd place, Madsen, 11:13:24. 3rd place, Smith Stockley Lakers, 11:36:29. Newfoundland Herald, 12:10:54. Kerbeck Signs, 12:24:32. That was the ExxonMobil Male General Workers race. So race number 11, the VOCM Female Commercial Race. First place, We just talked to them. Universal Corporate Wear, 605.18. Second place, Yetman Shingles, 617.73. Third place, Discovery Center, 719.96. And then a disqualification for Medivay, Blue Cross, and Domino's Pizza. So we can see some of the crews coming to the dock there now. A couple disqualifications there this morning. I'm not really sure what happened. Did you catch the story on the DQ?
No, I didn't actually. The regatta committee, they were trying to get some results, but no, they weren't able to confirm what happened there actually.
Okay, so just to give people at home an idea of potential reasons for disqualification, there could be multiple false starts, which I don't think there were because we would have heard it. It could be an equipment problem. It could be a timing problem. There's lots of rules and regulations.
Rower could have been sick. There's lots of things, like they might have just withdrew themselves anyway too,
Yeah,
right?
That's right. So we want to thank, for making all this possible today, Spirit of Newfoundland for providing the catering for all the Rogers volunteers. Everyone who's watching at home, you can enter to win a barbecue so generously donated by Home Depot. And also, we'd like to thank the Anglican East Diocese for their sponsorship. It takes a lot of people and businesses and organizations working together to make this day possible.
Absolutely, absolutely. So we do have the winners coming in there from the last race. And I do believe we're going to hold off on the crews going out for the next race. I think the Prime Minister is going to be up to the starting dock for that one. So I think they're going to slow that down a little bit. They're going to keep the dock marshal is going to keep the racers for race number 14. On the dock here right now, and he's going to start that race.
All right. So as we gear up to watch Justin Trudeau, Prime Minister of Canada, Justin Trudeau, start a race here at the Royal St. John's Regatta, we are going to take a short break and come right back.
Hey!
The lift wasn't working and he was in pain, so I tried to lift him on my own. Yes, it's bad. I'll need help.
Can I help you with that?
No, I'm good. Thanks.
Workplace injuries hurt the most at home.
Focused on quality and convenience, there isn't much you won't find at Marie's Mini Mart. Home-style breads, sandwiches, plus a variety of artisan breads and delicious single-serve desserts available exclusively at our Frecker Drive location. Marie's Mini Mart, with 25 locations wherever you go, there we are.
Okay, folks, let me introduce you to a rather important man, not necessarily for the regatta, but for us here at Rogers Television. This is Mr. Rick Brace. He's the president of Rogers Media.
Well, thank you. Thank you for having me on. It's a real pleasure to be here.
We're fortunate to have you here. There's a lot of stuff going on in and around our city that we're such a community brand, of course, at Rogers Television, under Rogers Media. And there's a few things in particular that I want to talk to you about.
Just before that, though, I'd be remiss if I didn't thank all of the volunteers. You guys are doing an amazing job here.
This guy.
I understand that it's 3 shifts of 30 people over the day. Some of you overlap. But what an amazing turnout for an amazing event. My first time in St. John's.
First time in St. John's?
I do have some roots in Newfoundland. My grandparents are from Greens Harbor.
Are they really?
And so I'm going out there tomorrow to have a look. I just wanted to get that out before we started.
Well, listen, I'm glad that you're helping me fill airtime, because speaking of people who have been here for a long day, I'll be here from 6 this morning till after 8 tonight, most of it standing in front of this camera. So thanks for filling a few minutes there.
And a big thanks to all the people standing behind the cameras as well.
Obviously.
Let's not forget them.
This is my man, Dan. Dan, say hi. Hi, Dan. Anyway, let's talk about some of the things that I want to talk about, because I'm excited. Toronto Maple Leafs alumni game coming in the fall.
Never heard of them. Never heard of them. No.
Okay, so our local ECHL team, the Newfoundland Growlers, are owned by the Toronto Maple Leafs.
Exactly.
The alumni are coming in town. It's a big promotional sort of thing. At Rogers Television, we'll be covering that. I'm hoping to sneak my way into there and get real close. I'm a diehard Leaf fan my whole life. That should be a whole lot of fun. Rogers, of course, the community television is going to be a big part of that. And also, up on the other end of this pond, there's this little red house that we're talking a lot about, Rogers Ignite.
I was down there earlier today, actually. Yeah.
Yeah.
Rogers Ignite. I mean, for those of you who haven't heard of it, it's our new technology, the new cable box, but it's not really a cable box. It's really based on IPTV technology,
Yes.
so internet technology. Just amazing, voice activated, allows you to get hundreds of channels, in fact, thousands of channels, and actually has a lot of apps on it. It's the way of the future, and for us, it's the way of the present. It's taking the country by storm in our cable footprint.
Yeah, I got it installed just a little while ago, and my day job, like most of the time I spend, is in real estate. And sales are down since I got Rogers Ignite. I'm teasing. I'm not home all day watching TV. I'm sorry. Now, also, when I was over there, the cast of Hudson and Rex showed up. So big partnership there with Rogers also.
Well, I mean, that has been an absolutely fabulous story. We're into our 2nd year. So 16 episodes we're producing this year, 16 last year, which is a big order in Canada for a television series. Shot here entirely in St. John's. And I'm telling you that it really does look like a St. John's background. We're not trying to mask it. We're saying this is a St. John's show.
Yeah.
And we're seeing appeal, not just in Canada, but in various markets around the world.
What I really like about it, you're saying like it looks like a St. John's show in that you can watch it and you can see you're definitely in and around the city of St. John's. But at the exact same time, historically, there's always been a feel when you watch television like that looks like Canadian television. Do you know, like there was sort of like a thing attached to it? This just happens to be here. It's like top shelf.
I think the days of
production
historically
value goes.
looking like a Canadian show are long gone.
Oh, yeah.
We've had some great successes with Canadian television, and I'm so proud to be part of this industry. And Hudson and Rex is just another example of how far we've come and the traction that a show like this can get internationally.
Yeah, absolutely. Rick, it's great to have you here. To have somebody who, I think it speaks a lot about the kind of corporation that Rogers is, like from Rogers Television, Rogers Media, Communications, all of it, all together being so community-based, and to have the amount of volunteers who are doing something like this, to have literally, like on the hierarchy, if you want to get into it from like a business standpoint, president's not on the bottom, but you're taking the time to sit and have a conversation. I personally really appreciate it, sir.
I really appreciate it, and you know what? This is what's fun for me.
Yeah.
To come to meet you folks, see the great job you do day in, day out, the number of community events that you do, the great television you do, and just, you know, when I look at you, I see the spirit of Ted.
Ah, the spirit of Ted. What a nice way to say it. Thank you very much, Mr. Brace. And we were going to go to a short break, and we'll be back with more races and lots more stuff right after this.
are back, and I'm here with the winners of race number 12, College of the North Atlantic District Female District race number 12, the Avalon Animal Hospital. So I'm going to get these ladies and gentlemen to introduce themselves.
Hi, I'm Stacy Moran.
Allison Moore.
Janine Snellgrove.
Annette Larkin.
Elmy Walsh.
Tim Clemens.
And there was one more of you who just had to scurry away because she's coxing in another race. What's her name?
Andrea Power.
So how was it out there?
It was pretty good, actually. We thought maybe like at the beginning the wind came up a little bit, so it was a little bit rough going down, but we came out of the turn and we just stuck to the plan and flew back and won the race.
Awesome. So you guys were 6:26. The next closest team was 6:31. 5 seconds, not too big of a margin. When did you know you had it? When did you know you won?
I didn't really know at all. You're not supposed to look around in the boat according to our coxswain, so we tried not to do that. But I knew we were maybe in the top 3, but wasn't really sure where exactly.
All right, so Tim, you teach them not to look in the boat. Are you a first-year coxswain? Because I know a lot of these girls look very familiar.
Yeah, no, their cox kind of bailed on them last minute. I just went out to help, and then they kind of reeled me in and convinced me to do it.
Well, you really stepped up to the plate then. That's excellent. Congratulations. You got a win on your not too much coxing experience.
Yeah, no, the girls were easy to cox. They did it all. I was just pulling the rope on the turn.
Do you think pulling the rope on the turn, that's one way to put it? And when will you come back and do it again, do you think?
I don't know. No promises. Ask me in February.
To be continued. All right, Avalon Animal Hospital, thank you guys so much. Congratulations. We're going to move on to the next race. So thanks so much.
We've got coxswain Jeff Clooney, stroke Clara Manning.
Okay, so in our next race, so the first stake, coxswain Jeff Clooney, stroke Melanie Yetman Holloway.
And Tammy King. Congratulations.
And
ladies. Presenting the silver medal.
The second stake in the President's Choice Boats, coxswain Andrea Power and stroke Alana Victory.
And that crew is IG Wealth Management, and on stake 1 is the Telegram/Robbins Donuts.
And now on the third stake, in the Oz Network boat, Gloria Brown Coxon and stroke Melissa Power.
And that crew, the sponsor is Vera Fast RN, so a lot of nurses out in that boat. Excellent.
And in the fourth stake, Jim Ring Coxon and stroke Melissa Gorman.
Sponsor Island Insulation.
Jim Ring, of course, no foreigner to the pond. Fifth stake, coxswain Patricia Murphy, stroke Pauline Malcolmson.
And the sponsor of that team is the Pacemakers. So I believe also those some healthcare professionals on stake 5 in the Pacemakers group, as well as on stake 3, Avera Fast RN. So I mean, you can't plan this stuff to get in the same race, but the stars really align to get the race of the healthcare professionals here at 11:40 a.m.
So do you think that there's an extra, I mean, just as a conversation piece, while we're waiting for everybody to set up, do you think there's an extra little bit of kind of fight, like an extra little bit of competition because they're in related industries? You know what I mean? Like, do you think there's a little bit like, we're tougher than you, we're nurses, you know what I mean?
I think they all probably know each other, which always spices things up a bit. And we can see here the Ziggy Peelgood's crew collecting their medal for race number 13, the Rogers Female Club.
Good old Rogers, they're there for you all the time, aren't they?
That's right. So high fives all around. And we see there, you know, we're announcing all these times, this is the first spare, second spare. We see here, one lady here has her arm in a sling because accidents do happen. So most crews do have backup rowers who are sparing either in practice. And sometimes, like in the case of high flow hydraulic, these spares end up actually racing. So Nancy Beaton actually raced in the championship race with high flow hydraulic in Harbour Grace and in Placentia and set new course records in both of those regattas this year.
I mean, that brings up interesting conversations when it comes to strategy. So I mean, if they're setting, because in Placentia there was sort of a record there, right? That recorded time. So doing that with a spare, like, do you as a coach then start to adjust what your expectation is, or do you change your game plan?
Well, it depends on the crew, that's for sure. Most crews here at the regatta have the 6 key members or the 6 main members of the crew set at the beginning of the year or the season, and then the spare is kind of like an add-on. So in that case, it's certainly what their game plan was that, and they stuck to it, but there were some injuries, and Nancy was just able to step in and race when she could.
So is that for our championship race now tonight, will we have that full crew back again?
I would say, I mean, Tracy was down here and looked very strong, very healthy this morning, and I haven't heard any otherwise, but all of the exact 6 crew members in all 5 of the boats for the men's and women's races will be back for the championship races for sure.
So they're all getting lined up here. Everybody's holding on to their toggles, trying to get straight. We'll wait for the starter, ask them if they're ready.
And as we tee up another interview with some winners, the blue tank top people, Rest NL Mattresses, the winners of race number 13. These women hail from Harbor Grace, so we are going to speak to them in just a little bit. That's winners of race number 13, the Rogers Female Club. And right now on the screen is race number 14, City of St. John's Female Labor Race. Second last race before the break, and they are off.
They are off indeed. You can see them start to push through, water flying as they try and get up some speed early in the race.
Oh, I thought... Last race before the break, I stand corrected. So I think this was the race where the Prime Minister was going to start them.
Yeah, so he would have been the starter just then. Number 1, are you ready? 2, 3, on through. So that would have been the lovely and talented Mr. Justin Trudeau.
Yeah.
Who, here's an interesting story. I managed to catch a glimpse of him. He shook my hand as he walked in earlier. And then randomly, a lady in the crowd came over to me and she said, I don't know you and you don't know me, but I need your phone number. And I was like, what? This is interesting.
Sure, lady.
This is interesting. And she said, because I need to text you this photo. And she caught a photo of me just randomly shaking the Prime Minister's hand, which is really cool, and I'm very grateful. And if you pay attention to Rogers TV's Twitter, you'll probably see that photo posted now shortly.
That is very cool. All right, I'm going to move over here and try and interview some Rest NL Mattresses as this race carries on.
So we're shortly past the 1 minute mark here. Still a really, really tight race across all 5 stakes. Not surprising, I suppose, this early in a race, as they're just passing in front of the boathouse here now. Very, very tight. And there's a buzz about this place. It gets bigger and bigger and on throughout the entire day. Around our brand new winner's circle here, which the City of St. John's did such a good job on. I remember in a conversation I had earlier with Mayor Danny Breen about how this is just step 1 of an ongoing upgrade, multi-phase beautification project around the Kitty Vitty Park. And it's interesting that he called it Kitty Vitty Park because I'm not sure everybody always would have recognized it as a park. But technically speaking, that's kind of what we have. So before we cue up this interview, a couple of quick shout outs again to our sponsors. The Anglican East Diocese, thank you so much for your sponsorship for the regatta as a whole. Again to Home Depot, thank you for the barbecue that we can all win up at, well, maybe not all of us, I can't, up at the Rogers Ignite Red House. And then again, Speeder Newfoundland for our catering. I'm going to enjoy that when we go to a break after this last race. But first, let's toss out to a conversation with Amanda again with Rest NL. Amanda?
Hi, I'm here with the winners of race number 13, Rest NL Mattresses. These guys just had a great row. I'm going to get you guys to introduce yourselves.
Lenny Williams.
Krista Cox.
Crystal White.
Ollie Penny.
Erica Calloway.
Stephanie Compton.
Jill Colburn.
Vanessa Farrell.
Juanita Pinson.
Okay, and we have elected the coxswain, I believe, to be the spokesperson. So tell me, how was it out there?
It's a bit rough going off. It was a bit windy. It wasn't like this morning, but we managed. Had a good row.
Well, you pulled it out and you did what you needed to do. Now, you guys are from Harbor Grace, and I understand Lady Lake is often windy, so you must be well trained for this.
We are. Every night is more or less wind. Every night. So we're used to it.
So how do these conditions compare to what you're used to?
100% better. Right? Yeah, it's way better.
Excellent. And so tell us about the race. What was your time? Do you have your official time?
Yeah, I think it was 6:15.
6:15. So how does that stack up for you guys about your results previously in the season?
That's the fastest time for us.
Oh, wow. Congratulations. So a personal best time.
It is. Well, we would have been better if the pond was better, but that's all you can do. Yeah. Right? But it was a good row.
And so did you, I'm assuming, probably competed in the Harbor Grace Regatta a couple weeks ago?
Yes, we did.
And how'd you make out there?
We got first place out there, too.
Wow, so you're racking up the gold medals.
Yeah.
You're going to need a case to put them all in.
Yeah.
All right. Well, thank you guys so much for coming to chat with me. Congratulations on a great result.
Thank you very much.
Excellent. So we are going to go back to Diana to tell us a bit more about the race that's going on now.
Thanks, Amanda. Very exciting, guys. Lovely. Like seeing the girls from Harbour Grace. Like seeing the teams from outside the city taking home a bit of hardware. So we're in our final race now. Last but not least, 4:30. So good timing. Amanda's back with me, and we're at the last race in the morning. They're almost to the marquee. This looks like a good race. It's pretty exciting.
Looks like stake 1 has the lead, followed by stake 2, followed by stake 5, then number 4, and then number 3.
So still seems like it could be a 3-boat race here right now. They're just coming by us here at the marquee. Very fortunate for the rowers today. The pond is beautiful. Really hasn't changed much from this morning.
The Rest NL Mattress crowd over there, who rows rows on Lady Lake, is pretty pleased with these conditions because, as you know, Lady Lake is always very windy.
Yes, for sure. And really, I just said it's nice to see that's a team from Placentia and a team from Harbour Grace win some hardware.
It certainly is.
So that's really exciting. So yeah, they're coming by us here now. You can see the team on stake 5 are starting. You can see them start hauling some water off the team on stake 1.
And back in the screen there a moment ago was coxswain Patricia Murphy, another staple coxswain, takes multiple crews every year, has been involved with the regatta for as long as I can remember. So great to see her back year after year. People like that just keep the regatta alive and going, and her enthusiasm for this sport is unparalleled. So way to go. Congrats on another great year, great rowing. Patricia, or I call her Patsy Murphy.
Patsy Murphy, yeah. Everybody knows her as Patsy. So it's 5:53. We got about 10-15 seconds left, if that, in this race.
It looks like stake 1, the Telegram Robbins Donuts in the red, is going to go for the win.
Yeah, it appears so. But it looks like it's going to be a close second place there.
Definitely. So there in the screen now is stake 1, the Telegram / Robbins Donuts. Coming across in a time
there
of about 6:17 unofficially. That wraps up that one.
And then it's a good push here for the finish.
Stake 2. Wow, that's a close finish.
Yeah, excellent.
Then good. Number 2 was the IG Wealth Management.
Great to see. So we're a little bit behind because, as we said, we were waiting for the Prime Minister to shoot the gun for that race. So we were a little bit behind. But we got a really nice, we got a dinner break here now, an opportunity for everybody to regroup. Just before we go off, I do want to mention, because I don't know if it's been mentioned yet today, that another person who the Regatta Committee, a huge contributor and volunteer that we lost this year, was Dee Murphy. So really, really sad. Dee has been down to this regatta for years. He was a builder. He was a volunteer. He certainly was in my early career of rowing, he certainly was a really big supporter of females in the rowing and, the championship races. And he was certainly a fixture on, NTV, calling the races. The Newfoundland Herald, he contributed to that. So he's sadly missed, and I really think it's important to acknowledge him today.
Definitely. So Dee is in our hearts for sure. We'd also want to congratulate this year's Hall of Fame inductees. So we had the 1985 Outer Cove Regatta Ford Intermediate crew was voted in. Also, former Regatta Committee member Frank Dinn, who was instrumental in getting the Royal designation for the Royal St. John's Regatta. So that is a really big important thing for
and
this
before you move on that one, Amanda, I just want to note that Frank's granddaughter is rowing 320 today, Madeline Pierce. And I'm being told now, I'm probably embarrassing her, but I don't care because that's what we do. And I'm being told that she slept in her grandfather's t-shirt last night for good luck. So how special is that? Amanda and her Stephen Dinn, Frank's son, they were down to the Hall of Fame dinner, and they accepted the presentation for Frank to be put in that Hall of Fame.
That just gave me the goosebumps.
I know, that's wonderful.
And then finally, last but not least, Graham Roach. He's been down around here for over 20 years, and he got in as a coxswain / participant. Yeah. So big congratulations to Graham Roach, Frank Dinn, and the Outer Cove Regatta Ford Intermediate crew. So without further ado, I just want to say a big thank you once again to the Anglican East Diocese for sponsoring this event. And then also say thank you to Spirit of Newfoundland for providing catering for the Rogers crew here today. Also reminding anyone, if you're down around the lake, enter to win the barbecue donated by Home Depot. If you're not down around the lake, then why not? Get down here and take in some of the sights, sounds, smells of the regatta. That just about wraps up our morning. We've recapped most of the race results, and we will be back to you with live race coverage at 1:45 p.m. So short dinner break here to kind of recharge your batteries, and we'll see you again at 1:45 p.m.
Thanks, guys. See you then.
Mom, you said it's played again.
Workplace injuries hurt the most at home.
Focused on quality and convenience, there isn't much you won't find at Marie's Mini Mart. Home-style breads, sandwiches, plus a variety of artisan breads and delicious single-serve desserts available exclusively at our Frecker Drive location. Marie's Mini Mart, with 25 locations wherever you go, there we are.
the Pacemakers. Fourth place, rowing in stake 4 with a time of 6:44.05, Island Insulation. And fifth place, rowing in stake 3 with a time of 6:55.42, Avera Fast RNs. Congratulations to all the crews. We're now going to proceed with the medal presentation as well as the trophy presentation. We were planning to start with the second place crew, which is IG Wealth Management. Are they here? Someone thought they might have left. Okay, they're here. Great.
So glad they didn't skip it.
So second place, IG Wealth Management with a time of 6:26.63. If they could come forward to the winner's circle area. And presenting the silver place medal, we are very honored to have Prime Minister Justin Trudeau presenting the medals.
With Nick Whalen.
Accompanied by Nick Whalen. Okay, so the IG Wealth Management crew is comprised of Coxon, Andrea Power, Stroke, Alana Victory, crew members Yvonne Knight, Kelly Buste, Colette Mansfield, Nicole Ivy Cross, Michelle Corbett, and Spare Chip White. Congratulations, ladies.
Congratulations. Thank you. Good to see you. Congratulations.
Could Kelly Buste please come forward to the winner's circle for presentation of the silver medal?
Okay.
All right. You have to give Kelly hers afterwards, okay? Thank you.
They're going to get the trophy for you.
That's the silver place. That's the trophy.
Oh, right, sorry. Just want to get a quick picture.
For sure. All right, look in the middle. Squeeze in.
Congratulations to IG Wealth Management. Now we'd like to proceed with the presentation of the gold medal.
I'll come with the trophy.
So the race number 14, City of St. John's Female Labor, rowing in stake 1, first place with a time of 6:17.37, the Telegram Robbins Donuts crew. Comprised of Coxon, Jeff Clooney, Stroke, Melanie Yetman Holloway, crew members Megan Willett, Heidi Keating, Melissa Humphreys, Julie Parsons, Karina Fahy, and Emily Morgan. Congratulations to the Telegram Robbins Donuts crew. And once again, we are honored to have the Prime Minister Justin Trudeau presenting the gold medals as well as the trophy, accompanied by Nick Whalen.
Glad to do it.
You did a good job. You did. We're each going to hoist that trophy.
You guys have earned it.
You did a good job on radio. I gotta say. Thank you. Thank you very much. Thank you. Great meeting again, right?
There we go.
We got a lot of audience. We are awesome.
Encouragement for next year. Encouragement for next year. Congratulations, everybody. Oh, geez. I think I'm good luck for you guys. Congratulations.
There was a vehicle.
That's okay. It's all part of the team. Of course. Thank you. All right.
The President of the Royal St. John's Regatta Committee is presenting the trophy to Prime Minister Trudeau, who's now presenting it to the crew. Congratulations to the Telegram Robbins Donuts crew.
Congratulations to the winners. Congratulations to all the racers. But I think everyone knows that on a day like this, everyone's a winner at the regatta. What a pleasure to be here. Thank you, St. John's, for being such extraordinary hosts, not just to people come out from around town, but from across the island, indeed, across the country. C'est un grand plaisir de voir tout le monde ici au regatta. Merci tout le monde d'être ici. Thank you so much. Have a great rest of the regatta. Take care.
The lift wasn't working and he was in pain, so I tried to lift him on my own. Yes, it's bad. I'll need help.
Can I help you with that?
No, I'm good. Thanks.
Workplace injuries hurt the most at home.
Focused on quality and convenience, there isn't much you won't find at Marie's Mini Mart. Home-style breads, sandwiches, plus a variety of artisan breads and delicious single-serve desserts available exclusively at our Frecker Drive location. Marie's Mini Mart, with 25 locations wherever you go, there we are.
My pleasure. So, I'm going to get you a mic.
Okay.
Boom.
I have my own mic.
The beauty of live television. Okay, so, mine isn't on? Now are we good? Somebody tell me we're cool. Are we fine? Absolutely amazing. Okay, we're going to share.
Okay, we can share. We can do that.
So,
Cooperation.
I'll introduce you again,
Okay.
Miss Alison Coffin, leader of the provincial NDP party,
Thank you very much.
and also representative in your own riding here.
I am. This side of the lake is St. John's East Kitty Vitty.
Exactly. So you're all about Kitty Vitty, that area, sort of your jam.
It is. It is. This is a great place to be. Look at how magnificent it is. There's so much attractions here. This is my place.
Okay, so there's a lot of buzz around today. I mean, we don't need to dig into, political colors or any of that foolishness. This is all like a love-hugged, feely sort of place
It
here
is.
today. Everybody's celebrating. Having that said, we had a pretty big visitor today.
We did. That was quite exciting, hey?
Yeah. I mean, it was exciting for me. I was standing next to a man who's getting more attention to me, and I got very jealous.
Fair enough. Fair enough.
However, it is nice to see our community gather together, be a part of this, and for everybody to cheer on something and just be excited to have your own thing.
Yeah, I think this is a great place for us all to come together, no matter what stripe, no matter what political disposition. Everybody loves the races. So you enjoy the races, you enjoy the food, you enjoy the sense of community here. And that's what we love about this.
Absolutely. I was speaking to Mr. Ches Crosby a little while ago. He's going to end up sitting on the dunk tank a little later on. And I'm supposed to be there at 4 o'clock. I wondered if you wanted the opportunity to sit in my place just so you could compete with Ches.
I appreciate that, but I didn't bring my swimsuit, so maybe not. Maybe I'll just come and throw softball at the dunk tank.
Do you want to come throw it at me?
Maybe.
Or I can come get you when Mr. Crosby is up and you can throw it at him.
Oh, maybe I can do that too.
I think that the audience would really enjoy watching you dunk leader of the opposition.
I think you might be right. I could probably be extra for that.
And I also think that that would probably start to trend on Twitter, and at least we'd have something else to talk about for a while.
I think you got a good idea there going on there. I think we have to have like the onesies, wetsuits or dry suits though, if we want to do that, because it could be very cold here.
Like, we're tougher than this,
You're
Allison.
right,
We are tougher than this. We don't need to be worried about how cold it is. Now, having that said, speaking of tough, how about the job of Premier? Not an easy one.
No, I imagine it is not, but I do look forward to the time when I get to do it.
Oh, I like the confidence. Allison, thank you very much.
Thank you very much.
It's been a pleasure. We're actually going to have a conversation with the Premier right now.
Coming up soon.
All right.
Thank you.
Thanks. Do I have 2 mics now?
You have to.
Sir? Now, hold on.
Good
now.
job, Allison.
Which, trying to decide which is the more handsome. I think you take this. You take this. And welcome back. Anybody know this guy? Anybody? Anybody here know this guy? Anyone? Ladies and gentlemen, the Premier of Newfoundland and Labrador, Mr. Dwight Ball.
Great to be here. What a fabulous day at Kitty Vidi and the lake, and everyone in such a great mood this morning. We're thrilled to have the Prime Minister here with us this morning as well. But lots of great things happening here in Kitty Vidi today.
Absolutely. And yourself, I mean, you got a chest on you like a rower. Do you row back?
I not lately, but that's what I did. Of course, living on a big lake, as I was joking with some of my friends inside today. It's an 18-mile lake in Deer Lake, and you had to pick your spots when it comes to rowing up that lake. So I haven't been doing it lately, but it's always a big pleasure. And a lot of my friends involved in rowing, a lot of people that I work with. So it's it's part of the big day. Christmas Eve, they say in St. John's.
Did I just catch you throwing shade at how Kitty Vidi Lake is only little compared to Deer Lake?
What I said is that the people people around Kitty Vidi, certainly large numbers. There's more people here today than we would fill every single street in Deer Lake. But what it is a provincial, of course, celebration today, and we're very proud of what the volunteers do, and including Rogers for making all of this happen as well.
Well, we appreciate that because I organized most of it by myself, really. I don't know if you knew that.
Oh, yeah, I know you're a one-man show there, yeah.
Obviously, that is not true. There's like 100 of us who are making this happen. Can you speak for a second about what it means to the province, to the crowd, and to the community that Mr. Justin Trudeau stopped by today?
We're fabulous. We've been, speaking with the Prime Minister on many occasions now and giving him the invite to come to Regatta. And of course, he's, it's obviously a lot of pressure on his schedule, but, he made this happen today at the 201st Regatta, and he was thrilled here today. You can tell the crowds, and he took as much time as necessary. The kids and certainly everyone wanted the opportunity to meet with the Prime Minister. I was jokingly saying is when we were in the starter shed that there was a gun there shooting blanks, and he had a lot of fun with that. But he just enjoys this stuff, and we had a great meeting this morning. I can tell you his commitment to this province is unwavering.
I made a joke as he was walking by, just commentating on the fact that he was here and he's doing such a good job shaking hands and kissing babies, and I accidentally said that he was shaking babies. And of course, this is live television, so you can't really edit that out. But I would just like everybody to know, Prime Minister Justin Trudeau did not shake any babies in St. John's today.
No, but I will tell you, people of all ages, understand that his engagement, his level of engagement, it's really, I look at it, and every time I get a chance to talk to him, it's just his energy level when it comes to meeting and engaging with people. It's unprecedented, and so, for us, it's been a good partnership that we've had with the Prime Minister, and we're certainly pleased that he was able to be here today to celebrate Regatta.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, Premier Ball, thank you very much.
Thank you.
Always a pleasure to talk to you.
Great.
And we'll be right back after this. Welcome back once again, friends and family, down at Kitty Vidi Lake, and you can see the beautiful lake as we're in between conversations here. And speaking of beautiful, the sunglasses on you. Ladies and gentlemen, the one and only Brenda O'Reilly. Hello.
How are you?
I'm doing pretty well. I mean, I've been standing out here in what has mostly been sun for the majority of today, and I'm meeting a lot of really interesting people and getting to have some cool conversations. Speaking of interesting people, you got a scatter thing on the go, hey?
We do, yes. We
course, happy Regatta Day. I just love the regatta. It's just something we did all of our lives, coming to regatta. I want to say hi to Dad, sitting at home. Hi, Dad.
Oh, hi, Dad.
Yeah, we've got, of course, we just bought the courthouse in Harbour Grace and the cathedral there, so we're working on that tourism project, which is fantastic. Of course, we're doing another season of Scoff Off coming up.
Yes, we are, and I'm super excited about this. This is so. I mean, if you're watching, you might know me from Out of the Fog, but myself and another partner of mine, director Joe Dominics, we helped to create Scoff Off with Brenda, who hosts it and does an amazing job.
It's a fantastic show. I think it's a lot of fun. I'm getting such positive response from it. It's really funny. Some of the shows I sit and watch over and over. I just think they're really funny. The guests have been fantastic. You'll see a whole bunch of like politicians and artists and musicians and athletes this year on the show.
Can we drop a couple of hints a little bit? Can you?
Don't want to give it away, but some pretty big names. Got some pretty big names this year. Of course, we're hoping to get some celebrity chefs as well to do this season. So look forward to it. Stay tuned.
Well, I mean, we're going to stay tuned. And just for anybody who is not quite familiar, Scoff Off is a secret ingredient cooking competition with sort of local-ish people who pin against one another, and you judge.
I do. Right? That's the hardest part. I have to pick a winner, and
more specifically, maybe you have to pick a loser.
Well, yeah. Sometimes it's like, oh, flip a coin, but yeah, it's based on some criteria, some judging criteria. Yeah. But at the end of the day, it comes down to the taste of the dish. Yeah. So it comes down to that at the end of the day.
Provided it's edible.
Provided it's edible, yeah. There's been a couple that are being sketchy, but...
Well, I, for one, am personally looking forward to filming the next... I mean, we're going to get a few episodes in this season.
Yes, we're doing 13.
Whew! That's a lot to be at. I'm looking forward to it. Thank you very much, Brenda O'Reilly.
Thank you.
Always a pleasure. And I'm going to get a good friend of mine, Jim. Jim, if you want to come and join us and help commentate on the upcoming race. Good to see you again, sir.
Good to see you, Jason.
Good to see you. Introduce yourself to the crowd here now.
Well, I'm Jim Carroll. I've been rowing and coxing on a pond for 41 years. And Regatta is at Christmas, so I'm really glad to have an opportunity now to give some commentary about some of the races coming up this afternoon.
And we are really, really happy to have you. So you spoke about Regatta being like Christmas. So can you elaborate? Because that's probably the 4th or 5th time. Because I'm not from St. John's. I grew up around the Bay. And at Norman Scove Long Cove days, we had the dory races. Yeah. But, you know, it was just for the fun of it. It wasn't a lot of training going into it. It was just sort of the time. Yeah. So can you elaborate a little bit on what it's like to have that in your blood, in your culture?
Well, it's like Christmas when October rolls around. Everybody's starting to buy their gifts and everything else. The same thing starts in May. Down here training. Testing your body, training to see how fast you can go Regatta Day. Also, the people you meet through this sport is unlike any other sport that I've ever been involved in. And it's just a real family atmosphere, supportive atmosphere, and all the rowers that I've met throughout my career and the coxswains and the families that support, it just all accumulates, as you can see today, with everybody just having a wonderful time. And the sportsmanship of this event is unparalleled.
And it's to elaborate a little bit on your comment about the family, and it's like a generational sort of thing. There's been multiple times that just behind us here in the winner's circle, people would be presented with their medals, their trophies, and they'd have their children, and family comes in, and it seems like very much a legacy piece. It's a generational piece, and now you see people who are rowing whose parents rowed or whose uncles rowed. And
well, I can tell you right now, I'm really excited for this afternoon because there are a number of 3rd and 4th generation kids rowing.
And that's super exciting.
And that's happening this afternoon.
Okay, so now let's get into race number 15. So in stake 1, Lamb's Palm Breeze, coxswain Melissa Oregon, stroke Dana Courtney.
Yeah, on stake 2, the Stroke of Power, coxswain Dave Curran, stroke Shondell Button, 5 Crystal Power, 4 Kat White, 3 Laura Harris, 2 Kristen Hines, and on number 1, Megan Shortle.
And then, of course, in the 3rd stake in the Smith-Stockley boat, Rebecca Vokey is the coxswain, and stroke Taylor Slade, Tiffany Kellaway, Mackenzie Chipman, Taylor Ezekiel, Dakota Chipman, and Autumn Lambert filling out that boat.
In stake 4 in the CBC, you got coxswain Sarah Emberley, stroke Ashley Head, Maribeth Pico, Cassandra Ford, Amy Lester, and number 2, Alex Peddle, and number 1, Kayla Pete.
And rounding out race number 15 in the 5th stake, sitting in the Seahawk, coxswain Sarah Osmond, stroke Mandy Peach, and their boat is filled up with Renee Furlong, Brenda Baird, Amanda Keogh, Ashley Wade, and Jennifer Brace.
So this is going to be a really good race. When I looked at the times, there was, I think it was only 8 or 10 seconds separating first from last in this race.
Oh, wow.
So this should be a pretty competitive race.
And I mean, knowing what the weather is like here today out on the pond, it's still pretty flat. Knowing what the weather was like during time trials, that 8 seconds, that could easily be made up just in that weather change.
It's also time trials, where do we get it so far in August? The last potential day could be in August. There was an extra week of training, so a lot of crews are in different parts of their training program. So time trials, some crews could be towards their peak, and then they peter off a bit. Other crews are just coming on. So what happens time trials, it seeds the crews, but it really doesn't really give the true picture until Regatta Day when they go head to head.
It's kind of just a measurement really of how well they could perform on that day at that time for that race.
Absolutely, and also these races, and a lot of these crews went to Placentia and Harbour Grace, and the purpose of that is to fine line their racing strategy. And some of these crews probably might have had a bad turn on time trials day. Some of the stroke rate might have been lower than they wanted. So every time they go out and race, they're learning from it. So by the time Regatta Day rolls around, you can see you'll see a significant difference in their race strategy. Yeah.
Absolutely. And now, of course, these people are starting. They're still there in the first quarter of a race, getting a little bit closer to the marquee now. Still pretty tight across, say, 1, 2, and 4.
Well, stake 1, a lot of people, when they're looking at a lot of persons who don't follow the regatta very often, when they're looking at races from the bank, they get caught up in the lie of the pond. And sometimes you think a crew is actually going faster than it is. Like the team on stake 1 over there now, from the bottom of the top of your screen, like that, the crew in stake 2 looks like they're catching them. But technically, they really didn't gain right there now. But it's just the lie of the pond when you're looking at as crews go by. But it looks like the team in stake 1 are in control with stake 2, very, very close.
And of course, on the nearer end of the pond, if you have a look at your screen, we're pretty. I mean, you're pretty close in 3rd and 4th there as well. So it's a battle for that.
Yes, there you go. Yeah. I hate calling just stake 1.
We're at 15. So when looking at the times there from time trials, what are you expecting to see coming out of this?
Well, in the time trials, the crews race in the practice shells. The regatta shells are a different boat, same mold, but they're lighter and faster. So I expect these crews, especially on today like today, to drop their time by 15, 20 seconds.
That much of a difference.
Yeah.
Even on this, like the half course.
Yep, and the half course. And the other thing too with the pond, with the conditions of the pond right now. You can see from the viewers, it's the wind is, whatever bit of wind is here is straight up the pond. So both the crew on stake 1 and the crew over on stake 5, they're rowing in equal water. Sometimes if the wind is coming across the pond, it could be given advantage to the crew that's underneath the bank or vice versa. But this is a very fair pond to race on, and all 5 crews are going head to head in basically equal rowing conditions.
So the wind here typically picks up into the early, mid, late afternoon and into the evening as we get into our championship races. So does it become advantageous then to have selected your stake for any particular place?
Well, for these races here, the stakes are already preset because they seed the fastest time on stake 1 and the slowest time on stake 5, and that creates it's a safety issue for boats going down because there could be a slower crew coming into a turn.
Of course, yeah.
So, but the only time they get to choose now is this evening. Now, the crews that have made the championship race, they'll canvass the weather station, figure out what the direction the winds are going to be, and they get to select their boat and stake. So
based on the direction of the wind,
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
So what side of the pond they'd rather be
Yeah.
on, or if they'd rather be straight
Yeah,
up the middle.
so there, you know, the wind is if the wind changes and it goes kind of southerly and is coming across the pond back over towards the boulevard, you may see the top crew in both categories move to stake 5 or stake 4 or even in the middle of the pond. So
there's a lot of strategy.
It is so, you know, and you know when you're at that level and you're competing at that level, you're seeking every bit of advantage second-wise you can get to give you that edge. And you know, if you have the fastest time of the day, you get that choice to give you that edge because you've earned it. So
yeah. So I mean, we've got these guys. They're all around the turn, and they're all back now at full force, coming back up the pond, getting closer to the boathouse here in the marquee. Still, I mean, 4:30. We still have a couple of minutes left here before they end up rounding out towards the end, and we see who comes in first, second, third, and so on. In the last year, of course, big record-breaking year for the M5 women. Talks this year that something unexpected might be. There's a potential there based on some of the results that have come out of the regatta out in Placentia, I suppose.
yes, well, the first place crew in the ladies this morning, which was Hydro, was it Hydro?
Yes.
Flow? They put in a phenomenal year so far, and I don't think anybody was expecting them to be as fast as they are. But they're all experienced rowers,
Oh, yes,
and they had an incredible row in Placentia and an incredible row in Harbour Grace. But however, the Cal girls, the Cal group, they were like this is going to be an interesting championship race. Let me put it that way.
Definitely.
So it looks like the crew in stake 2, Key Assets. Really must have had a good turn.
A good turn.
Yeah,
good
and they've
solid
because
start
they were in
after that.
second place going down. This
And
so,
the first stake, I believe, was in
they were in
coming
first
up.
place right past the boathouse.
May have dropped a couple of oars or something on the way around the turn or
Yeah.
something, lost some momentum.
So it looks like Key Assets are going to win this handily, and the crew on stake 4.
Stake 4, probably
Or
5.
I think it's stake 4. It looks like it'd be Newfoundland Power. They're really rowing strong and good in stroke there now, and looks like they're going to pull out second place.
We get a picture of the line here now as they get a little bit closer, and we hear that gun go off. There it is, your first place winners, unofficial time of 6:19.
So Key Assets rode 7:20 Tom Charles.
Well, what a difference.
But I know there was a bit of wind on Tom Charles. However,
But a full minute.
That's phenomenal time.
That's a full
They're going to
minute.
be really happy with that time.
And of course, second and third coming in faster, and even fourth, everybody coming in faster on Regatta Day than anybody did in time trials. Like,
Well,
that's
I
an
would say
impressive-
every one of those crews just rode their probably personal best now today. And when you line up and race, you know, sometimes you kind of figure out where you think you're going to row, and you hope. And a lot of times, to take the pressure off yourself, just go row your personal best.
Yeah.
And see where that gets you.
Because really, I mean, you're competing against the clock in a lot of these instances. Looking over your shoulders, throwing off your cadences, throwing off your balance. You straight ahead, listen to the coxswain. They're going to let you know where you need to be.
Yeah, there's over my career as a coxswain, there's been a few shouts out of me. Keep your eyes on the boat.
Yes, exactly, right?
Yeah, because it can lead to a missed stroke or something. So,
And
but
on
yeah,
your
no, that was a great row by Key Assets.
And on your screen here, you see them floating around, just trying to stay off the beach, obviously, but just gassed, just hunched over their oars, sucking air. The amount of effort that goes into, in this case, barely over 6 minutes, 6:19 or less.
I've often said, you know, every race and the rowers that are out there, whether it's they row the fastest time of the day or the slowest time of the day, the heart and effort that goes into it is the same.
Yeah.
And it's just conditioning and strength and
it's your
technique
full
and all
body.
that. Yeah.
Like, it's not just your shoulder and your elbow and your rotator, like full body from toe, calf, knee, hip, you're flexing, everything is in there.
Well, it's I think the special about this sport is it's the most individual sport I've ever been part of, because when you get past the boathouse, it's just you and your oar. No one can really tell if you're rowing 100% or not. but it's also the most team sport because you can't go out of your element either. So you got to stay in stroke, you got to keep the cadence, you got to sit up tall, you got to do everything not to stop the effective run of the boat, but as an individual person, it's only you and your oar from the boathouse back, and no one can tell from the bank or even in the boat whether you eased off on a couple of strokes or not. So that's where the individual
that intensity, that synchronicity, that synergy, like with your team,
that drives.
That's what gets you there.
That's what gets you there. Yeah.
Because I mean, I remember speaking with Amanda Hancock earlier, talking about what makes a championship crew, and it's not necessarily that each individual person is the stronger of rowers. It's the way they come together as a team, and everybody's in the part of the boat that is their strength, and everybody, you got your power where your power belongs, and good coaching, good coxing.
Yeah, and just you can be in as good a condition as you want, unless your technique and you're in sync as a crew, and there's harmony with the crew. That's when you see crews excel. You know, I've been part of crews that were very, very strong, and we've lost races down here we should have won, and I've been part of crews that we won races that we were predicted to lose.
Yeah.
So it all comes into I guess the intensity of the crew and the whole just camaraderie, and just a lot of times come back to pond, you're kind of rowing for each other. You know, and when you're at that level, that's what it's all about.
We're going to get ready. We're going to set up our next race here down at 2001st, the 201st Royal St. John's Regatta, race number 16, coming up now shortly. And while we're preparing to do that, while we're talking about some of the other things that are going on, we're going to try and round up some winners. See if we can have a conversation with the ladies from Key Assets who just rode an incredible run. But in the meantime, quick shout out to some of the sponsors who are making the regatta happen this year. The Anglican East Diocese, thank you very, very much. Also to Home Depot, who have generously donated a barbecue that you can win if you come down, submit your name over at the Rogers Ignite TV Red House. And to the Spirit of Newfoundland, thank you so much for the catering, for the coffee. Actually, I could use another coffee. If anybody, anyone? No?
Yeah.
I tried. Thank you nonetheless. So, Jim, what do you most look forward to? Having been a rower or having been a coxswain, the regatta is slightly different for you than, say, it would have been for me prior to working with Rogers. The regatta was somewhere to go and have fun, and there's a beer tent, and so it's a totally different culture, totally different history to me. Can you speak a little bit for yourself?
Well, up until this year, this is the first year in 42 years that I'm not hauling an oar or coxswain on the crew on the pond. I took this year off. But what the regatta for me is, especially last part of my career now on the pond as a coxswain for sure, was taking a crew, and I've taken crews that have never rowed before, and just kind of molding them into teaching them how to row, and just seeing them improve and the excitement in that crew. And there's such a level of satisfaction to be able to get them to regatta day and let them go out there and row their best and just learn more about themselves and what the sport has to offer.
And I'm hearing a lot in the rowing community, in the regatta community lately, about the youthification of the sport and how we're getting more and more younger people, like we spoke about, through the family. So as somebody who's worked with first-time crews, I mean, it must be nice to see that, because those are going to be your future record holders.
Well, you know, not too long ago, Jason, down here, we were struggling to get a lot of younger rowers, and the last couple of years, we've had an exceptional turnout of young rowers. And like I said, for your audience out there this evening or this afternoon, just stay tuned, because there's a lot of young rowers out there, and you will recognize, if you've been following the regatta for as long as I have, you will recognize a lot of the last names, and their mothers
King,
and fathers.
There's like
they're all over your program this afternoon as we get into the midget and the squirts.
Absolutely. And they're always so fun to watch, and it's so fun to be a part of them. We stand around here in the winner's circle, and the energy starts to build because, I mean, these kids, when they were doing the medal presentations for some of the juveniles, some of the juniors earlier, I remember the girls, they're 13, 14 years old, and they're getting medals, and everybody's hooping and hollering as much as when the Prime Minister was up here. So, like, it's so nice to see that kind of support from the community.
Yeah. Well, you know, for example, last year I coxswained Steers Insurance, and when we got in championship race, when we got up to get our medal at the championship race, every one of the girls in the boat, they had their kids come up, and all of them,
Incredible.
or some of them had rowed on the pond that day as well. So
that's
it was
excellent.
incredible feeling for them, and it just goes to show that the sport is alive and well, and we just got to keep promoting it and encouraging the youth to continue with it, you know?
Well, we are certainly doing our part here at Rogers TV in promoting this. I mean, we're live all day here, trying to bring everybody who's watching on Rogers Channel 9 or any other HD channels, so you can see what's happening. And in partnership with some of the other broadcasters here locally, you get that incredible drone footage. Like when you were, like, let's go back a few years. You didn't have drone footage with, you know, keeping an eye on where everybody in each stake was, so you can, like, accurately predict where people are going, where their time trials are, like where you need to be if you're record breaking as you start to round your turn. Like, you can see things a lot clearer now.
Well, the other thing too with drone footage, I was blown away. As a rower, and every now and then you get to row on a really, really nice pond, and the pond is glistening, and the boat just feels like it's a work of art. And the first time I saw drone footage of our crew a couple of years ago, we had it for practice. I couldn't get over how graceful it looked from the air.
Yeah.
And so so we use it as a training tool, and but it just put a whole new perspective of what a boat looks like with those oars synchronously going in from the air. It looks
It's a thing of beauty.
It's absolutely incredible.
And I mean, you got to think that some of our teams who are going to be racing the championships later this evening, they're going to be watching some of that tape as they sit back with their teammates from the crew. And so we have more to come. Hopefully, lots more interviews, lots more fun, lots more energy, and lots more crowd when we come back just in a little bit. We'll talk to you soon. Hey.
The lift wasn't working and he was in pain, so I tried to lift him on my own. Yes, it's bad. I'll need help.
Can I help you with that?
No, I'm good. Thanks.
Workplace injuries hurt the most at home.
Focused on quality and convenience, there isn't much you won't find at Marie's Mini Mart. Home-style breads, sandwiches, plus a variety of artisan breads and delicious single-serve desserts available exclusively at our Frecker Drive location. Marie's Mini Mart, with 25 locations wherever you go, there we are.
Love you, baby. See you later.
Third place rowing in stake 5 with a time of 6:34.10, Equinor, Canada.
Well, welcome back to Rogers Television, and we're just getting ready to announce the winners of that last race. I'm here with Jackie. Jackie, that was a minute off their time. That's incredible roll.
It is. It is. It's for, I don't know if they're a first-year crew, but still taking a minute off their time from time trials is amazing.
Yeah.
It's an amazing time. Yeah.
Yeah, I think every one of them. Just look at the camera. I think every one of them beat their time by almost a minute.
Yep.
Yeah. And I know they raced in the afternoon at time trials, and you had crews out there, so it was a little bit windier on time trials compared to today.
Yes.
But still in all, what an achievement.
Oh, it was. Yeah. It's a great day. The wind is coming up a little bit now, but compared to this morning, but it's still good rowing conditions, right?
So they're predicting the wind to go down a little bit later on this afternoon, though.
Championship races.
Yeah.
That's good. That's good.
So they're here now. They're getting lined up now to start the 320 race. Not the 320 race.
220. 220 race.
The 240 race. 220 race.
220 race. Yep.
And on stake 1, they're getting lined up on stake 1. We had in the Catherine M. We have coxswain Jennifer Brown, stroke Aaron Parsons, Sarah Murphy, Natasha Power, Jennifer Bruce, Melanie Osberg, and Regan Brown, the Spirigillium. On stake 2, we have in the NTV network coxswain Keith Bussey, Carla Ford, Shelley O'Brien, Abigail Crocker, Diana Bishop, Angela Kavanagh, and Cindy Grant.
Okay.
Stake 4.
And on stake 4 in the telegram, coxswain Christina Ennis, stroke Krista Williams, 5 Nicole Kiersey, Colette Philpott, Elizabeth Piercy, Kate Keane, and Trinity Cleary.
And on stake 5 in the Ranger, we have coxswain Lenny Williams, stroke Rebecca Vokey, Robin Vokey, Susan Penny, Taylor Shepard, Jesselyn Harris, and Holly Reynolds. So they're getting lined up. It looks like the crew on stake 2 are having a bit of trouble to get queued up there with the toggle.
On stake 2, College of the North Atlantic, this is the all first-year crew.
Oh.
And it's a first-year coxswain, Keith Bussey. And actually, he's on one of my rowing team's Kerbeck's signs. Yeah, so this is his first-year rowing, first-year coxing, and he's doing a wonderful, great job. Yeah.
Well, Jason and I spoke just before you came on about all the new rowers and how the younger group, but I've noticed as I'm reading out a lot of the coxswains' names and rowers' names, there's a lot of new rowers, like adult rowers.
Yeah,
it's absolutely wonderful.
6:19:52.
There's a girl on the College of the North Atlantic. This is her first time rowing now since 35 years ago. Yeah, so she wanted to come back, so they're all back again.
So
she's back again.
So you've been down here a long while, Jackie. So have you seen as many new crews this year compared to other years?
Yes. Yeah. And there's a lot more new coxswains as well.
So do you think it was the 200 last year might have kind of gave it a little shot in the arm to get things moving?
Yes, I think people got the itch for it, and once you get that, then you'll be rolling then for a long time.
Oh, for sure.
Yeah.
Well, it looks like at the if you take our screen here, it looks like the crews are lined up now for the race 16, the rec room female memorial, and there's 4 boats in this race, so stake 3 is vacant, and we're getting ready to sign off here now, and the gun's gone.
And
Jackie, just walk us through now. Like you coxswain this morning, I think a couple of times.
5.
So what are you telling your crew there now when you're?
Well, everybody has their own start, and so when we do our start, I just got them to just give everything that they have in the start, because your start and, as you know, and your turn is what make or breaks your race, really.
Yep.
So if you got a good start and you're head on and you can get down to that turn, I mean, you're more than likely going to get a good time for that.
Yeah, it's important to get the boat speed up, and then once you get the boat speed up, and a lot of people don't even realize this, but as you get the boat speed up a bit, it's actually easier to haul.
Yes, yeah.
Yeah,
so, it doesn't feel like you're dead in the water when you're
like the water is lighter.
Yep.
And anyway, so but it looks like those crews did get off to a decent start.
A good start, yes,
And
they did.
it looks like we're froze there on the clock
Yeah,
there.
we're losing. Oh, there
Here we
Oh,
go.
got
We're
the
on the drone.
footage now.
I was saying to Jason earlier how incredibly it looks like an art in motion from the air.
Yes.
You know,
Yeah.
when you're in a boat, for those who've
amazing.
never rowed in a boat, when you're in a boat and you got a coxswain there and they're yelling at you
Yes.
and your lungs are screaming, you don't really feel graceful, but
No.
from the air, it's awesome to view.
It's actually, yeah, it's a really nice. It's a nice view from up there, isn't
Yeah.
it? When you're looking down like
Well,
that.
it looks like we got a really good race happening here.
It is.
Yeah.
Looks like stake.
Looks like stake four,
yeah.
or Astro Roofing seems to have a little edge
bit
there
of a
now,
lead, yep.
but not very much.
No. And stake 2 is the College of the North Atlantic, and stake 1 security.
Well,
Now the coxswain on stake 1, Jennifer, she is on my Indigate team. Yeah.
she's been rowing a while.
She's been down a
Yeah.
while. Yes, she's
Yeah.
been here a while. Yeah.
Yeah. So when they get down towards the turn, I think we'll get a better vantage point actually who is in the lead. But I can tell you right now, from the vantage point here, from what you're seeing on your screen, it's kind of really hard to tell. Because,
It looks like they're head to head.
Yeah,
It looks
yeah.
like it's a good race.
And we go to the all-crucial turning
Turn
of the boy.
Yes, that
Yeah.
cursed boy.
And coxswains
Yeah.
will,
Yep.
years ago, would
Yep.
say races are won or lost on the turn.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yep.
So it's
Yep.
so we're going to see right now how these crews are
Yep.
making out. Now, all of these crews, like they had fairly slow time trials, and they would have rowed late in the afternoon.
Yes.
And the wind did come up.
It did. It did.
So
Yep.
I expect a similar result out of this race that we had in the last race, where their times are going to be in the 6-minute range.
Absolutely,
Between
absolutely.
6 and
And
7.
that's a wonderful feeling, you know, when your time trials time is like, whether it's, I don't know, whether you want to do 6.5 minutes, 7 minutes, or 7.5, and then you come race day and you take even 10 seconds off your time trials time. That's a huge accomplishment. And you know, it just makes the feel. I mean, it's not really all about first place, second place. It is, but when you take that much time off your time trials time, that's a good feeling to have. That's something to be proud of.
You know, you've trained brand new rowers as well as I have,
Yes.
and you know how personally satisfied they are when they get in the boat and they end up rowing their best times ever.
Exactly.
Yeah, so
Look,
this is
they're all-
fantastic.
oh my goodness, they're all going in together.
Yeah, and everybody seems to be having a good turn.
It is. Oh my
It looks
goodness.
like
1 and 2.
stake 1 are out first. That's Jennifer
Yep,
Brown.
yep.
And
looks
she's
like Keith, stake 2, College of the North Atlantic,
Yep.
is right behind her.
right behind them.
Wow.
And all the crews are out of the turn and making their way back home.
Yep.
But right now it looks like
stake 1.
Spuda Security,
Yep.
Jennifer Brown's team are really
in the lead.
And you know, then there's a strategy coming off the turn too.
Exactly.
Some crews like to lengthen it out. Other crews like to kind of up the rate a little bit to get the boat speed back.
Yep.
And it's just you know, it depends on the coxswain and what works for the crew.
Yeah, exactly.
You know?
Yeah,
What
exactly.
works for the crew and the conditioning of the crew.
Yeah.
But it looks right now that stake 1 is in the lead.
Yeah.
Followed closely by stake 2.
Stake 2.
Yeah, College of North Atlantic.
Yep, Keith Butsy,
and
yep.
And looks like Astro Roofing are in third.
In third.
And Moro and Crosby in fourth. So they're kind of coming back to pond as their times reflect from time trials with relation to the fastest time to the slowest time.
Yeah.
But I can tell you right now, I'm looking at their 4:53, 4:54 there now. They're
going to have a good time.
They've got less than 2 minutes of rowing left there
Yes.
now. So they're all going to row personal best, I'd say, today. And that is a very satisfying feeling for all of those crews from first to last.
Yep.
Now we're getting a really good side vantage point here.
Yeah, and I know the coxswains now are probably just screaming at them now to just, you know, put the pressure on your legs.
Yeah.
You know, don't lose the boat. You know, it almost looks like stake 2 is pushing ahead there a little
stake
bit.
2 has just made a move.
Yeah, they did. That's the College of the North Atlantic.
And I haven't got my stroke watch going, but it looks
No.
like Stake 2, College of North Atlantic.
Yep.
They've
is-
upped their
well, they
they've upped
did.
their stroke rate a little bit,
They have.
and they
they're
it looks like that's what's putting them,
they're
giving them
in
the
the
edge
lead,
there now.
yes.
And Stake 4 are now challenging for second place.
Yeah.
This
yeah.
is awesome race here, guys.
But it's definitely going to be a good time from time trials for
Yeah.
all of them.
Yeah.
Yeah. College of the North Atlantic, by this point of view, looks like they're in first place right now.
Yep. Yeah, so
So
whatever
pass.
crew now can hold it together. It looks like College will win this unless
Yes.
they lose an oar.
Yeah.
But
Oh my,
looks like
don't
Stake.
say that.
No, I know. Sorry, guys.
But you know, anything can happen.
Yeah.
You know, in
Yeah.
a race, it doesn't matter. Anything can happen.
And it
You
looks
know,
like
and it's-
Stake 4 there now. More and Crosby.
Yeah, they're coming
Lenny
up.
Williams' team. Looks like they're going to squeeze out second place. And to look at a time that
Oh,
they
here
wrote.
they come. Look over there.
So there's College of North Atlantic
Yeah.
coming in there now.
Looks like they're coming in first. In their time, look at the time.
Yeah.
They probably got about 10 strokes left to go.
Yep.
Wow. That is a good race.
So they're going to beat their time for how much? 30
For-
seconds.
Yes.
30 seconds.
30 seconds. There you go.
Yeah.
6:59
Yeah.
unofficial.
So second place.
Nice job.
Second place goes to. It went to
Secure.
Sputa Security. They must have upped the rate a little because I know Stake 4,
Yeah.
More and Crosby had an edge about 40 seconds out.
Yeah.
And that's what, you know, if your
That's-
practice finishes, that's what
Absolutely.
gives you that little edge towards
Absolutely.
the finish of the race.
Yep, and I think they all just beat their time trials time.
Yeah. So that's a huge,
Huge
for, I mean, More and Crosby rode 8:36.
8:36.
So,
Yep.
I mean, they just
That's
rode,
great.
they just rode just above 7
Yep.
minutes.
And I
So
bet you
that's-
they're all glad to be done.
Yeah, yeah, for sure.
Yes,
Yeah.
they are all glad to be done now.
And no matter if you're, how hard you train,
No.
The hardest part of racing is waiting to get out the race.
Exactly. Yep.
Yeah.
Yep. Yep. You train for 3 or 4 months, and it all boils down to that 6 minutes or 5 minutes or whatever your goal is, and there they are right there, College of the North Atlantic.
Yeah, a happy crew
They're
there.
very, very proud.
Yeah. Yeah, and like I said, I haven't been down around this year as much as I have been in years.
No.
But I see a lot of new faces, and it's fantastic for the
Yes,
sport.
it is. Yeah,
It's fantastic.
There's a lot of kids, lot of squirts as well this year. Yeah.
Well, I was what I said earlier before you came on air. When we get into the squirts and the midgets, you're going to look down through. I think one of the last races of the day, you got the coxswains are actually former rowers and championship
Yes,
rowers.
that's
and,
right, yeah.
And they're steering their children.
Yes,
and
exactly,
so what
yeah.
an incredible
It's a-
experience and opportunity.
It is absolutely.
And as we go
Absolutely.
into the midget category and the squirt category, you're going to see familiar
Familiar
names in the
yep.
lineup.
Yep.
Because their parents have been rowing for years.
Exactly, and that's
Yeah.
nice to see too when the parents, like, you know, get involved with the kids when they're rowing, and you know, just to keep it all in the family, keep it everything.
Well, that was a great race
It
because
was.
it looked like everybody had a good turn. You know,
Everyone
you
took their
hate to
time
train
off.
all year and have something happen
Yeah,
on a turn
exactly.
or where you lose an oar or something like that.
Yes.
So it looks like everybody executed the race plan the best way they could.
Yeah.
So, you know, we're getting now into the male midget races.
Yep.
And when we start calling out those names, you're going to see some very familiar faces in relation to experienced rowers, both male and female side. Their children are down here rowing.
Yeah.
And like I said, it was wonderful to see that. And so, but that was a fantastic race.
It was. Yeah, everybody should be proud of what they did. They all took time off their time trials, and they did a great job.
So, just give me a little bit more background on the crew, the first-year crew. So, how did you know them personally and how they got involved?
No, I don't know them personally, but Keith Bussey I do, and his wife Iris Bussey, she's the coach for that team as well. And I know last year Keith was interested in doing some coxing, so he works at the College of the North Atlantic.
Yep.
And so he said to me, he said, Jackie, he said, look, you know, I want to do the Learn to Row program with the Learn to Cox program. And I said, absolutely, I'll back you up. You know, I'll help you out, mother. And anyway, so he have all the ladies on that crew. I think they all work at the College of the North Atlantic, yeah. So anyways, he got a crew together, and they've been training, and they trained every single day.
Yeah.
And like, you know, I'd watch them every day, and the improvements that they did, like, it was amazing.
So I guess the message for our viewers out there is that you're never too old.
Absolutely not.
And if you put the time into it and practice into it, you can come down here and row just like these guys did today.
Yeah.
And walk away with an incredible feeling of a sense of accomplishment and just a camaraderie and sportsmanship.
Yeah.
And plus, the fallout is you're actually going to get in good shape.
Yes, that's exactly. So if it's on your bucket list,
yeah.
why not give it a try?
Don't be shy to come down.
Don't be shy.
It's,
no.
And there's a lot of support down here, and there's infrastructure here to support any new crew that wants to come down here, and coxswains, the Learn to Row program, the coxswains program.
Absolutely.
So that you're not just down here on your own. So the Regatta Committee has done an incredible job over the last number of years to put these programs in place to allow
new coxswains
and rowers who want to try this for the very first time. It was a bucket list for you. You know,
it's never too late.
You know, the shells are there, and they go on the water, and they're there for your use.
Yeah.
And it's a great sport, and one of the things that a lot of crews that I've steered over the years, the friendships and the bonds that you end up creating through the sport, they're life lasting. So
exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah. I've been down here now 18 years, and the people that I've, like, you know, is I got 5 crews that I cox, and it's just one big rowing family. We just help each other out. You know, it's great. It's great.
I remember when you came down.
Oh yeah, yep.
Yeah.
Bill Hickey was my first coxswain when I worked with the RNC.
Yeah,
and
Bill,
Magic Walk was our sponsor.
There you go. I remember that. Yeah. Yeah, and Bill was our coxswain when I rowed with Aaron Lakeshore Homes in the 80s and 90s. So Bill was down here earlier. Now he's moved up on the southern shore, so it's a bit of a commute for him to be back on the pond. Only for that he'd be spec steering a couple of crews.
Back down
So I
again.
think this is one of the first years now he's missed in a long relation to coxswain come down and coxswain and training crews.
Yep.
So it's wonderful.
Yeah, I noticed our famous Michael the Goose is not. I think he must be gone hiding somewhere.
Yes, for anybody who hasn't been down around the lake, there's a goose that loves chewing on rudders of the racing shells, and they got him named Michael.
His name is Michael. Yeah, I used to come down every morning and give him his apple, give him an apple every day. Yeah, just so he wouldn't attack me.
Yeah,
so,
for sure. Yeah.
So I think the teams are getting ready to maybe come over.
Yeah,
or?
and actually the wind is starting to. Well, as I said that now, but it's actually the wind is after stopping. The